Listen to this.
Call me Piers.
Piers, okay. So I want to tell you, you want to proceed with an intelligent dialogue, or you are the interviewer and answering. Let's continue. But if you want to repeat this experiment of putting Gazans in Israel, the answer is simple. It will never be.
No, I heard you. I just wonder.
So much. Okay.
I just wonder.
Okay.
Hang on. I just want to give you a question. I just wonder. Obviously, you're outraged by the idea of Palestinian people taking the place of Israelis in Israel, and I understand that. But what gives you the right to then tell Palestinian people, innocent people, children, who've had nothing to do with Hamas, what gives you the right to uproot? Let me finish. To uproot those people from their homes and expel them in what would be ethnic cleansing, which is a war crime, as you know.
They attacked Israel on the 7th of October.
Yeah.
They massacred Jews on the 7th of October after we evacuated Gaza for their benefit. What is not clear in what I say?
Well, what is not clear is that you have also, in going after Hamas in Gaza, massacred between 70 and 100,000 Palestinians. And at what point does that become disproportionate? At what point does the fact that you won't, that the Israeli government continues to prosecute this war in a way that kills so many children, does this become something which is completely unacceptable?
Okay, not acceptable. So it's a fact. If they had not, you say that it is not acceptable. I understand that it's not acceptable by you. I think that if the Gazans hadn't started, the Hamas hadn't started the attack, there wouldn't have been a war. And we, for instance, as people who were evacuated from Gaza, in the past 20 years, I must say it's kind of a unpleasant confession for me, but this is the truth of the matter, that we haven't dealt with the idea of returning to Gaza, returning to our homes, because we said, okay, there was a contract, we gave it away, we didn't want it to happen, it happened, and that's it. The gates closed.
Yeah, but here's the thing, here's the problem, Daniella. You have no right, Israel has no right to just take Gaza, to just take the West Bank, to expel
take Gaza.
To expel 8-9 million Palestinians. You have no right to do this. You have had no right to occupy Gaza for the last God knows how long. Where do you think you have this right to do all this? You're furious at the idea of any part of Israel being given up for Palestinians. Fine, okay. But why would you then think it's fine for you to take over Gaza and the West Bank?
May I ask you, why do you repeat the same question 3 times? You know, I don't see your face, so it's a kind of difficult without the gestures.
Well, let me simplify it for you. What gives you the right?
What
gives you the right to think that you can expel millions and millions of Palestinians?
Look here, I don't know if the viewers, the people who see your program, have the patience for a historical summary. As the State of Israel was established in 1948, 3 days after the Holocaust, and 3 years after the Holocaust, and 2,000 years after the dispersion, after the Romans dispersed the Jewish nation. And then somehow there is an ingathering of the Jews in the land of Israel, the biblical land. And the biblical land that we hold to now is very tiny. We tried, according to the partition plan first, to be satisfied with a tiny, tiny piece of land where we have independence. And then when we were small, I would say tiny, and even without Jerusalem, we tried to manage a Jewish independence in the biblical state of Israel, and we were prevented from living this way. I was born before the state of Israel, so I know all this history from my own flesh and blood and my own family, and my father wounded in the War of Independence. So we tried to live in a tiny land, and the Arabs didn't let us live. So then there was the 6-Day War, and where I live now was liberated. I say liberated because it's the heart of our homeland in the 6-Day War. And since then, we tried to live peacefully, and the Arabs don't let us. So how can you try to change facts? Now, you gave me a chance to relate a tiny summary of history. If you have another way to put it, please go ahead.
Okay, I'll put it this way. I'll put it this way.
I am a guest.
Let me put it this way. The UK government has sanctioned you personally in May of this year. You were described as having been involved in threatening, perpetrating, promoting and supporting acts of aggression and violence against Palestinian individuals. You have been described as the head of extremist settlers. The vast majority of the international community, including the United Kingdom, consider the settlement illegal under international law. Last year, the UN's top court, the International Court of Justice, said that Israel's occupation of Palestinian territories is against international law, and Israel should stop settlement activity in the occupied West Bank and East Jerusalem and end its illegal occupation of those areas and the Gaza Strip as soon as possible. So that's a bit of history for you, which is that you have been seen as the godmother of Israeli extremists who believe that you have a right to all this land, you have a right to settle where you want to, you have a right to expel all the Palestinians and to take over their land. And I say to you that actually, under international law, you do not have that right. It's actually a crime, what you're doing. And you should stop doing it. So that's my question. My question for you is, why do you continue to break the law?
I don't know. You present things in a very journalistic way, so I don't know.
Well, they're facts.
You say, do it.
Everything I just read you is a fact.
Yes. What facts? What facts?
I just read you the facts. I can read them again if you didn't hear them.
Morgan, listen to this. I never hide what I do. I am being interviewed by you and by everyday media people come to this home and to the hills where I establish communities. And I tell what I think and what I do and what I plan. So if there is any...
One thing that has become popular among people who have common sense and humanity, we can say that the easiest way to destroy Zionists is to give them the mic. I don't know whatever happens to people who lack self-reflection and moral compass. Why? Because when you give these people a mic or a chance to speak, they will dehumanize the other people and you realize, no, the problem is not the other person they are blaming. It's them, because they never take accountability of their actions. Tell me anytime you have seen accountability from this group. And every technology, social media, is focused to silence the voice of Palestinians, the voice that support humanity. And the question is, when you keep blaming the other side for your actions, it's like telling us we blame Nazi or we blame the Jews who were destroyed by Nazi for Nazi crimes. How does it make sense? It's very simple that you must understand that there's a criteria and we have international law. These days, communication and flow of information is very fast and efficient. You can't lie and you cannot gaslight people. You cannot sell propaganda that you used to sell a few years ago. It's becoming so hard. And you can see that this war has destroyed the image of Zionists to an extent I don't feel like they'll ever recover. Whether you censor information, people now can understand that we don't censor lies. We censor truth. and we market lies. It's very hard to market lies. And when you listen to these ways and these radicals, it becomes so hard to sympathize with such people who, once they speak just a lot of harsh words, genocidal words, hectic. Let me know what you think in the comment section. I'm your host, James.